Now, everyone got pretty excited about the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 8, and I don't blame them, but the Samsung Galaxy Watch Ultra 2 also deserves quite some attention because this year Samsung did quite many upgrades in my opinion. First up, by going from using their own Exynos W1000 to now a new chip from Qualcomm, which is Snapdragon SW6100 Wear Elite. Supposedly, it's going to be a very huge upgrade. That's why I'm really excited about this unboxing. But it's not only the unboxing that we are gonna do in this video. We're gonna do some pretty cool stuff as usual. So for example, I got this Spigen glass screen protector to apply, even though that this one has sapphire crystal. But I still believe that it actually needs a screen protector if you want to protect your investment. Because in the past, I had the Galaxy Watch Ultra 1. Unfortunately, I got it knocked out in the street, a very, very small knock, and it got actually a small dent, as you can see here. So that's why I believe that even though the Galaxy Watch Ultra 2 has sapphire crystal on its screen, it still needs a screen protector to help protect it in the best way. So we're gonna apply the screen protector from Spigen Glass DR Easy Fit, and also has this aluminum core glass. So you can see that this aluminum core is Spigen new technology for screen protectors. The surface hardness of it is 10H+, not the usual 9H+. So in theory, it should provide a better protection than conventional protectors. And you can see it's also case friendly. So if you get a case for the watch, you can still have it supported. I also got this band, the trail band from Samsung. I am a huge fan of the trail band. I actually got the titanium gray, so I wanted to have this one along with it. Hopefully they can match up pretty nicely. And I wanted to go with like a bold color, something that can show a difference in contrast, you know. As I already have the Samsung Galaxy Watch 8 Classic, it's my daily driver for a year, and I wanted to compare the difference between them when it comes to performance. Now, as I said before, the Samsung Galaxy Watch 8 Classic features Samsung Exynos W1000 chip. So I wanted to do this comparisons when it comes to performance between the new Galaxy Watch Ultra 2 and the Galaxy Watch 8 Classic. This way we can see the difference between them, like a generational upgrade. Is it worth upgrading in case you have the Galaxy Watch 8 Classic and you already like it? To learn more about the difference when it comes to performance, so with that being said, let's get on to it. Get ready to see the Galaxy Watch Ultra 2. I'm really a huge fan of Samsung Galaxy Watches. It looks a little bit different than the Ultra one in my opinion. It's not really that thick. Dual speakers here. You have 3 buttons here. This one is for triggering Samsung exercise mode. We don't have a rotating bezel, as you can see. But for me, I can get used to it. When you compare the screen and everything, it looks pretty massive. Now here I have a styling bezel by Rinke. I already covered it in a different video, so you can check it out. Let's check what else we have inside. Here we have the strap. It originally comes with a marine band from Samsung. You can see that it's made out of like silicone and pretty sporty. You can see very, very soft, and it has nice design as well. Here you have this orange accent, Ultra, saying Ultra. You can see nice design. Here we have the charging base, and it's also support fast charging. So that's everything you get inside the box. The Galaxy Watch Ultra 2, marine band, and we have the charging base. They're gonna look really awesome. It's 47 millimeters, as you can see. And even though it's sapphire crystal, but still, I'm not really about to risk it. It definitely looks like an Ultra watch. The more you look at it, the better it gets. It's made out of titanium, as I said, very elegant, very shiny. You feel like it's something pretty incredible in my opinion. Now, first of all, I'm gonna install this band. You see, you just need to press here the button so it will unlock, and that's it. That was the first one. The bands that comes with the Ultra are usually small, medium, large, so they go for all sizes. And that's it. Very nice looking. This marine band is also pretty soft. It gives you maximum flexibility. I honestly have a small wrist, as you see. But it looks pretty decent. Let me know down in the comments, what do you think? Does it fit well on my wrist? I really don't mind this kind of like shape. Maybe it looks a little bit big, but I really don't care. Like at the end of the day, what matters is that I'm happy with it. I'm quite satisfied with this look. It looks so nice. It's very comfortable. Let's now turn it on for the first time. Now, the reason I didn't install the screen protector immediately is because I want to compare the difference when it comes to image quality. That's why I want first to show you the difference without a screen protector, then we apply the screen protector and see the difference. Let's get it connected to my phone, and it immediately got recognized on my Z Fold 8. You can choose a backup for 8 Classic. I don't want to set up as a new watch. So we have this Samsung quick button action, and you can change it to do different stuff. By default, it's gonna open my exercises, but you can also make it to have a different action. For example, start working, start running exercise, start bike, stopwatch, or a flashlight, water lock, camera control, voice recorder, and compass, and depths. So you can use it for different actions. Go to next. Here we have track trail runs. Pick a route and get real-time elevation data and climb alerts as you run. We also have this understand your sleep for better rest, to get detailed sleep records and track your vitals, energy score, and more. You can use it to measure blood oxygen, snore detection, and also record it. I have the Galaxy ring, so I usually sleep with it. You also have skin temperature, so I usually have this one on. As well as finally sleep time estimates. When you sleep without your wearable device, your phone will estimate what time you went to bed and woke up. So yeah, sometimes it's useful. We also have this new hub for heart health. Here it's gonna track your health metrics and lifestyle factors that impact your heart, and you will get a daily score that can help you understand your current heart health. So it can calculate some vitals for your heart health. We also have this track daily cardio load, see how your workouts and daily movement impact your heart, so you will know when to push and when to rest. Your target load range adjusts daily based on your recent activity and training focus. So here you can track daily your cardio load as you are exercising. We also get Samsung Wallet on the watch. That's actually nice. Get help for emergency like falls. If you ever need help, press the home button on your watch 5 times to call emergency services. To get attention quickly, press and hold the quick button for 5 seconds to play a siren sound. Here we are. Take a tour of your watch. Swipe down from the top to open the quick panel. Here we can have the quick actions. For apps, swipe up from the bottom edge. Here we can see all the apps. Very beautiful screen. Swipe left for tiles which show useful info from apps. Nice. We'll check now notifications. For notifications, swipe right and press on it. Swipe right from edge to go back to the previous screen. Press home button to return to the watch face from any screen. And that's it. Enjoy your watch. It definitely looks so awesome, so nice. You can see very beautiful and big screen, so colorful. So yeah, the difference between this one and the 8 Classic is definitely huge. If you compare them side by side, you have this digital rotating bezel, very responsive, gives you a very nice feedback as well. Like a haptic feedback, almost like the original physical mechanical one. Like you don't really miss a lot. It's so responsive. You see like very smooth, very nice feedback. So not really that different. Quite many apps are pre-loaded already. You have Gemini support. That's actually pretty cool. You can assign it to be your assistant. So when I press and hold, what would happen? Actually by default, it would load up Gemini. Hey Google, look at those colors. So deep blacks as well, AMOLED. Definitely the best looking display I've seen on a smartwatch. I like also this watch face, the default one. It looks so beautiful. I like this orange accent of it. Along with the band, it really gives you a nice mix. You see how fast it is? Actually, it's very, very fast. Other than digital rotating bezel, you can also use a touch, so you can go up and down if you don't like. So you can go with this or this. You see how fast it is, very responsive. You see, very, very responsive. Like back then, Galaxy watches used to struggle quite a lot with performance, but now look how fast it is. Like despite having cards and images and all those designs, but yet it's so fast. Let's check now this trail band, blue one, jeans, you know. So beautiful looking. I like the material of it. If you want to adjust it, very simple. You just pull this off, take it upside down, you remove this off, pull them and choose the two holes that you want, and then get them inside, rotate this one to its original placement and place. It will adjust this way. It's a little bit rough, maybe because it's new. Do you guys think it looks nice on my wrist? I honestly quite like it. It's pretty comfortable, but keep in mind that the kind of texture is pretty rough, like compared to the 8 Classic ones that I have. This kind of band is definitely quite softer, this fabric band. Compared to the trail band, I definitely feel the difference. It's a little bit rough, but I honestly like it. I like the color of it, along with the titanium space grays, along with the trail band in blue. Look absolutely awesome. Now I'm gonna take off this band because I'm gonna apply the screen protector. I have this one from Spigen, featuring aluminum core, Glass TR Easy Fit, which includes 2-pack, case-friendly for the Galaxy Watch Ultra 2. Let's see how it works. What I like about it is that the surface hardness is 10H+. It comes with 2 of them. We get this foam to place the watch on top of it. This way it will be stable on the desk. In case you need to remove it, you can use this pry tool included inside. And we get this nice squeegee to remove air bubbles. And we get the usual alcohol wipes, dust absorbing stickers, cleaning cloths to clean the display. Take your time and remove all dust that you see at this stage. All we need to do is remove this fin. Now press and slide. Remove this fin. Now remove this slowly. We can use our squeegee to take out this air bubble here and this one here, and voila. It honestly looks very awesome. I like the fact that it's covering edge to edge. Like it doesn't leave any gap. It's 100% precision. You can see covering the whole display. Almost seems like you don't have a screen protector installed. Truly awesome result. You see 0 air bubbles. Here is the difference. You see with light, it looks like this. The reflection. Truly awesome looking screen protector. Very, very minimalist, low profile, covering 100% of the screen. I like this fact about it, that it's covering the whole display. leaving zero gap. It preserves the deep blacks on the screen. It doesn't add like a hazy or gray looking. It honestly look absolutely the same as the original sapphire crystal. Let's turn it on to see how colors would look. It doesn't compromise at all when it comes to clarity and quality. Still having the same beautiful colors on the display, very nice clarity. It's so responsive as ever, so fluid, so smooth. Even like the digital rotating bezel is so responsive as ever. I have to give it to Spigen for making sure that it doesn't look ugly at all. They know the value of this ultra watch too. That's why they wanted to give it their best shot without leaving any kind of gap. So definitely an awesome looking one. Looks as good as the original sapphire crystal in my opinion. If you are looking for a great screen protector for your Galaxy Watch Ultra 2, I'd consider this one. Now I prepared a few tests comparing the Galaxy Watch 8 Classic with the new Galaxy Watch Ultra 2, just to see how much of a difference there actually is between them. Starting with the software, both of them are updated to the latest version. My Watch 8 Classic is currently running One UI 8 watch with Wear OS 6, while the Ultra 2 comes with the newer One UI 9 watch and Wear OS 7. Wear OS 6 is based on Android 16, while Wear OS 7 moves to Android 17. Probably the Watch 8 Classic will eventually get the newer One UI 9 along with the Wear OS 7. But probably the bigger difference here is the processor. The Watch 8 Classic uses Samsung Exynos W1000, which originally launched back in 2024, while the Ultra 2 switches over to Qualcomm brand new Snapdragon Wear Elite SW6100, released just this year. Both of them are actually based on a 3nm chip and are 5-core processors. And actually both watches have 2GB of RAM and 64GB of storage. So when it comes to storage and RAM, they're about the same. So I wanted to see how much of a difference you can actually feel in everyday use. But first, I want to talk about probably the biggest issue I had with my Watch 8 Classic LTE, and that's overheating. During summer, the Watch 8 Classic could get hot really quickly. You can see here that after only around 4 minutes on an LTE call, the watch could overheat and automatically hang up the call. Once that happens, it basically enters this cooling mode where some functions become unavailable, such as smart features, and you are left with this static screen until the watch cools down. After around 4 minutes or so, it will normally tell me that it had cooled down, and then I could start using it normally again. But then it will overheat all over again, so it's never ending. Obviously, this protection is there for a reason, but it's still pretty annoying when you are using an LTE watch specifically because you want to make calls without your phone. And especially because like the ambient temperature isn't really that hot. It's like 28 degrees Celsius. It's quite hot, but it's not like extremely hot, you know? And I actually measured the temperature during one of these calls. You can see how temperature would rise over time before going into this cooling mode. And trust me, it gets pretty uncomfortable as you wear it. So one of the things I'm really interested in testing with the Ultra 2 is whether the new Snapdragon Wear Elite handles LTE calls and heat better. I'm not going to make any conclusions yet because I need to test it properly, especially outside during summer. But I'll definitely keep you guys updated on that, so make sure that you stay around. Now let's move on to performance to see the difference between them. I started with a simple boot test. And here's the Ultra 2 boots first. I wouldn't take this boot test too seriously. I tried it a few times and the result varied quite a lot. Sometimes the Ultra 2 won by quite a bit, and other times the Watch 8 Classic was really close, so boot time doesn't really tell the whole story. What I noticed much more is how the watches actually feel once you start using them. The Ultra 2 just feels snappier. For example, when I open the apps menu on the Watch 8 Classic, sometimes that first load looks a little sluggish. If I close it and open it again, it usually gets smoother. But that first load can definitely feel slower at all times almost. While on the Ultra 2, everything just feels more immediate. Opening quick settings, going into the apps menu, the whole system just feels more responsive. Even unlocking them side by side, the Ultra 2 is usually just a little bit faster. But to be fair, The Watch 8 Classic is already much faster than older Galaxy watches like the Watch 6 Classic. It was almost unusable, especially like making calls and using heavy apps. But if you have been using the Watch 8 Classic like I did for a whole year and then switch over to the Ultra 2, you definitely notice that the Ultra 2 just feels snappier. I also tried opening a few apps like the Play Store that actually opens a little faster on the Ultra 2, although it's not by a huge difference. With lighter apps like Calculator or Voice Recorder, both are pretty much instant, as you can see. But with heavier apps, that's where the difference becomes easier to notice, like such as Google Maps takes longer on the Watch 8 Classic, and YouTube Music is another one where the Ultra 2 feels faster. And you can see here that on the Watch 8 Classic, sometimes while installing or loading something heavier, the whole system starts stuttering a little and showing signs of struggle. So for me, this is where the new processor starts making more of a difference. I can't say exactly how much of that is purely the Snapdragon chip and how much comes from better optimization with Wear OS 7 and One UI 9 watch, but either way, the Ultra 2 definitely feels smoother and more responsive to me. Now, another obvious difference is the display. The Watch 8 Classic has a 1.34-inch AMOLED display with a resolution of 438 by 438 pixels, while the Ultra 2 has 1.59 inches with a resolution of 498 by 498 pixels. Pixel density is basically here the same, around 327 ppi on the Classic versus around 329 on the Ultra 2. So it's not really about one screen looking much sharper. The main difference is simply that you get more screen on the Ultra 2. And on a smartwatch, especially this small, that extra space is actually pretty noticeable. You can see text a little bit clearer, maps are easier to look at, buttons feels a little less cramped, and you can just see more information at once. You can see the difference here if I play the same game on both watches. We all probably get curious to know that kind of difference. But I have to say that both displays look really good. They are AMOLED, blacks are perfect, colors look great, and both are easily bright enough for normal use. And for this taste, both watches are set to maximum brightness. The Watch 8 Classic can reach up to 3000 nits, which is already really bright. But the Ultra 2 takes that to the next stage, goes all the way to 5000 nits. Indoors, honestly, that difference doesn't matter much. Both of them look really great. And when it comes to the actual image quality, both look excellent. But side by side, to my eyes, colors on the Ultra 2 looks a little bit more waved and lively. Highlights also seems to pop more, and because the display is larger and brighter, everything has a little more impact. That's just how they look to me in person though. It's not something I'll call a huge difference in overall color quality, but in my opinion, the Ultra 2 has a better display. Even colors looks greater, brighter, and more impactful. Even outside, most of the time I can see the two of them just fine. But under strong direct sunlight, that's where you really start to see the advantage of the Ultra 2. You can see here that the Watch 8 Classic becomes much harder to read, while the Ultra 2 stays clearly visible. Something worth knowing about is fast charging on the new one compared to the previous ones. They look about the same size. If you bring this new fast charging for Galaxy Watch Ultra 2, it says fast charging, and it's actually faster than the standard one, like it gives you an estimated. Here is a standard non-fast charging one. You see there is no fast charging. Look what happens. It just says charging. It doesn't say fast charging at all. That's the difference between them. Even if you use the new one on the Galaxy Watch 8, it only says charging. It doesn't say fast charging. What is this one? So the same amount of charging with the 8 Classic. So it's the same 18 minutes on the older charger. Now you are probably curious to know about the charging, and that part of the test is actually pretty interesting. The Watch 8 Classic has a 445 mAh battery while the Ultra 2 has a much larger 800 milliamps hour battery. So the Ultra 2 has around 80% more battery capacity. Not sure how Samsung has managed to pack such a large battery on a very slim design. So anyway, I drained both watches completely and started charging them at the same time at 17:17. The Watch 8 Classic reached 100% at 18:38. So that's around 1 hour and 21 minutes. But what's more interesting is that when the Watch 8 Classic reached 100%, the Ultra 2 was already at around 80%. So if you are someone who normally charges to around 80% of battery and then puts the watch back on, the difference in charging time really isn't that big considering how much larger the Ultra 2 battery is. And of course, the charging slows down near the top, so the final 20% is what adds quite a bit of extra time. The Ultra 2 reached 100% at 19:05, which is around 1 hour and 48 minutes. So despite having a battery that's around 80% larger, it only took about 27 minutes longer to fully charge. Both watches have a built-in speaker and microphone, but rather than me trying to describe the difference first, I'm just going to play the same audio from both and let you guys hear it and be the judge. I'll use the maximum volume on both and record them from the exact same position, so you guys can decide which one sounds better. Personally speaking, the Ultra 2 sounds noticeably louder and clearer to me. And this is something I noticed straight away, because when I moved from the original Galaxy Watch Ultra in 2024 to the Watch 8 Classic last year, I definitely felt the downgrade in speaker volume. The Watch 8 Classic speaker isn't terrible, but it's pretty quiet. If you are somewhere with a bit of background noise and you are using the watch on a speakerphone, it can genuinely be difficult to hear the other person clearly. With the Watch Ultra 2, voices come through louder and are much easier to hear. Obviously, I'm not going to sit there listening to music from my watch, but for calls, voice responses, notifications, and things like that, having a louder and clearer speaker is actually really useful. Now, as you can imagine, both watches also support Gemini. Tell me a joke.
Why don't scientists trust atoms? Because they make up everything.
Tell me a joke.
Why don't scientists trust atoms? Because they make up everything.
Another joke.
Parallel lines have so much in common that it's a shame they'll never meet.
Another joke.
Scarecrows win awards because they're outstanding in their field.
And honestly, they are both pretty fast here. If I gave them the same voice command, the two of them responded quickly, and I don't think this is an area where you are going to notice some massive difference. So overall, I believe both watches are good, just in different ways. The Watch 8 Classic still has that physical rotating bezel, which I know a lot of people love, and it's still a very capable watch. But after using them side by side, the Ultra 2 definitely feels like the faster and more powerful watch. The new Snapdragon Wear Elite processor makes the system feel noticeably more responsive to me. You get the larger display, with much higher peak brightness, a louder speaker, and of course that much bigger 800 milliamps hour battery. The main thing I still want to properly test is overheating during LTE calls, because after the overheating issues I had with both the Watch 8 Classic LTE and the original Galaxy Watch Ultra, which also use the same Exynos W1000 processor, I'm really interested to see how the Ultra 2 handles long LTE calls with the new Qualcomm Snapdragon Wear Elite SW6100, especially in hot weather. So I'll definitely be testing that more, but just based on these first comparisons, the Ultra 2 does feel like a meaningful upgrade to me, especially when it comes to raw performance, the display brightness and clarity, speaker volume, battery charging speed, and capacity. Now I'm curious to know what you guys think. Does the Galaxy Watch Ultra 2 seem like a worthwhile upgrade to you? Let me know what you think. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.